Infinity Nikki has landed in even deeper controversy following the disastrous 1.5 update. A patch plagued with game-breaking bugs, lost in-game currency, increased pity costs, and what many believed was a major story retcon. So far, Infold has issued only 2 brief apologies and offered a laughably small amount of compensation gems that must be claimed daily, essentially making players work for what they're owed. The first apology focused mainly on bug fixes, but considering the overwhelming number of issues still present, it barely scratched the surface. The second apology announced extensions to 1.5's events, a revised Mirror Crown schedule, and reassured players that the threat of union was not removed and will be introduced into the story. While Infold is asking for players' patience and understanding, their poor communication and minimal efforts are making that incredibly hard to give. This is especially disappointing coming from a company that claims to pride itself on listening to our audience, yet right now, Infold seems to be doing the exact opposite. The situation has escalated so far that some players are now exploring legal avenues. Huge thanks to a supporter who reached out and brought this to my attention. A stylist on the unofficial subreddit has compiled a list of potentially unlawful practices they believe should be reported. I encourage you to take a look. Let's start with the daily gem issue, which highlights just how frustrating Infold's support system has become. A Reddit user shared their experience after being unable to access the game due to bugs, which prevented them from claiming the daily gem package that they paid for. Initially, support told them that they wouldn't be compensated, but later followed up to say that that response was a mistake and that they'd work on resolving the issue. Shortly after, the user received another email stating that the ticket had been closed because they took too long to reply. Now they're forced to restart the entire process with no guarantee it won't end in the same way. Infold has engaged in questionable business practices that may violate consumer laws in multiple countries. In multiple cases, players waiting for refunds or compensation were left in the dark, with Infold claiming users did not respond in time. This is particularly troubling given that communication happens over email, where response times are naturally delayed. The lack of transparency around this time limit feels both manipulative and unfair, raising red flags around consumer protection. This refusal to offer refunds or extensions contradicts consumer rights laws in both the US and EU, which require that paid digital content remain accessible and functional throughout its purchase period. Another glaring example is the use of false reference pricing, advertising items as heavily discounted, like a $50 bathtub marked down to $9.99 when that original price was likely never real. This kind of pricing can be considered deceptive under both US FTC guidelines and EU regulations. Finally, data mined drop rates exposed hidden gotcha odds, especially around accessories versus main outfit pieces, rates that were never publicly disclosed. This not only breaches App Store policies from Apple and Google, but may also violate consumer transparency laws in several regions. In short, the 1.5 update didn't just disrupt the game, it seriously damaged player trust. The concern goes beyond bugs or flawed updates, it's about players feeling overlooked and undervalued. If Infold hopes to rebuild faith in Infinity Nikki, it needs to prioritize transparency, clear communication, and meaningful accountability before the damage becomes irreversible.